Hello, everybody. This is Jason. We are at From Heroes to Icons, and we are at the end of 2019. I don't know how many videos I'm going to make concerning this, but I definitely wanted to get this one out. This is going to be the best of the year 2019, just concerning comic books in general. And I must say, this has been truly one of the best years in comic books. And everything that happens to do with it, the movies, the cartoons, the comics themselves, our trips to the LCS, everything. It's just been a really good year for comic books, for YouTube, and for From Heroes to Icons. I'm not going to do like a top 10 or a top 5 or anything like that. It's going to extend that. But I do have a top 3 in this. But I want to do a top covers and a top artists as concerning pencilers. But I don't know if I'll get down to that. But I'm definitely happy to be here with you guys talking about it. And it's just been a great year. First up, I'm going to talk about a few books that got canceled or just stopped and disappeared. And these are books, I really didn't hear too many other people talking about them, but I definitely collected these books, and they are gone or in limbo now. And the first one is Sword Daughter from Dark Horse Comics, and that was by Brian Wood and Mac Chatter. And it was almost like that television show Vikings, but a little girl was the main character. And in the beginning, she couldn't speak. And then I like jumped forward and she was grown and, they cutting people up and going for revenge, her and her father. And just kind of abruptly the book stopped. So I don't know what's going on with that. But I know Ben Oliver was doing variant covers for that. It's a great book, a great read. We need more stuff that's a little bit, off the beaten path. And that book just got kind of deaded. And another book was Seven to Eternity, which when I found out about this book, I hopped on this book late and I was blown away. I mean, I love fantasy almost just as much as I love like regular superhero comics. And this book was it. The story was fire. The artwork, it was ridiculous. This was written by Rick Remender, and the art was done by Jerome Opina. Definitely, issue 13 was the last one to come out, and there was nothing after that. I heard talk that Rick Remender was just saying it was just too much to get the book out, so he stopped it. But yo, man, if Doomsday Clock could do it, you can do it too. You know what I mean? And on a personal note, there was a lot of black characters and black comic books that came out this year. And they weren't trash. They were really, really good. And I'm happy about that. And I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but I'm black. And I'm proud. So I'll say that I'm black, African American, and all of this other type of stuff. Whatever you call yourself. My name is Jason. So whatever, right? So first we had Naomi by Brian Michael Bendis and Jerome Campbell. She made a splash into DC Comics. And the book was dope. I hopped on it early. Everybody else hopped on it after it got a little hot. And I think the highest point that book was selling for was $400 in a CGC 9.8. Since then, obviously, the book's only like 8 months old. It has dropped to, I think, $150 to a 9.8. But still, it's, good book to have. Hopefully they will return on that after they finish the book that they're on right now. And then we got a book from Image Comics, Bitter Root by David F. Walker, Chuck Brown, and Sanford Green, who I follow on Instagram, and he's always showing what he's working on. In this book, I guess if you get Monster Hunters and Ghostbusters and put it in the Harlem Renaissance, you have Bitter Root. And the hatred that is deep down in folk causes them to turn into monsters. And it's the bitter root that transforms them back into their human form. It's a really, really dope book. And Bitterroot returns in February with issue number 6, and that's going to have 2 covers. Watch out for my preview on that. And another mainstay in comics, I actually got a sketch from this guy at one of the last Comic Cons I went to. Excellence, also from Image Comics, by Brandon Thomas and Carrie Randolph, who is just like, just one of those cool cats. He's easy to talk to, you know what I mean? He's just a really, really hip cat. And this book is like a hip-hop Harry Potter, if you will, with a little bit of 1980s Kung Fu swag in it. Definitely a nice book. I know they took a hiatus on that, and the trade paperback just came out for that. Coming from DC Comics Young Animal, we got just dropped Far Sector. Issue number 2 just came out last week. And that's by N.K. Jemisin and Jamal Campbell. And everybody seems to have such a hard time pronouncing the Green Lantern's name from Far Sector, but her name is Sojourner. I guess, I'm from the hood, so I know that name. And I believe, I'm not sure, but I think she's going to be part of that G5 movement that DC Comics is going to be doing later in 2020. And the last book on my Black is Proud list is Naomi She Is Death from Stranger Comics, and that is by Sebastian Jones and Sheldon Mitchell. This book I know was all over what's the thing where they raise money for comic books and all that other type of stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about. On Kickstarter. But it actually came from Kickstarter over into mainstream comic book shops, which was pretty dope. And the covers and the artwork for this are phenomenal. Just some really good stuff. Happy for my people. Happy for comic books in general. So let us move on so y'all can hear what y'all actually come for. The first book I'm going to talk about is don't get angry and don't press stop. Is Doomsday Clock. It's a fantastic book. Even I think we only got 4 issues this year, but the book is fire. I'm sorry, y'all. Although it was late and, just plagued by latenesses, the covers were dope. It had an in-depth story, and the art by Gary Frank you just can't deny the quality of work that comes from this book, even though of the chronic lateness and all of that stuff. The book ends as of this recording. New Comic Book Day is tomorrow. I'm recording this on December 16th, and tomorrow is New Comic Book Day. It comes out. It's going to have 3 different covers for that. Y'all make sure that y'all get that. And I'm telling you, issue number 10, the cover for that, I think it was the cover B, the black and white cover that looks like something out of a 60s movie. That was one of my favorite covers this year, definitely. Doomsday Clock is there, and hopefully it will not disappoint. And we're going to talk about Conan a little bit. He was just all over the place in 2019. He came into Marvel mainstream, into the current timeline continuum. I know he has 2 regular books, The Sword, Savage Sword of Conan, and Conan the Barbarian, which both of them are fire. He was in the Avengers, and that Avengers crossover, I think I got the picture up there. It wasn't No Surrender. It was the one after No Surrender. But I don't have, I didn't put all of that in my notes. And he was part of the Savage Avengers. And now Dr. Doom has got him in his eyesight. So hopefully, we see what Dr. Doom has for the Cimmerian right there in 2020. And we cannot deny the awesome covers by Alex Ross and Assad Ribic. And Daredevil. It seemed like after season 3 of Daredevil on Netflix, and they started the new series over there at Marvel, this book, Chip Zdarsky and Marco Checchetto is raining threes on this book. I'm not like a huge Daredevil fan, but I'm really digging what they're doing with Daredevil over here. It seems like they've taken a step back with Matt Murdock and his role as the devil of Hell's Kitchen. And he has a not so friendly ally and a new detective. I guess they're giving him a little Batman Commissioner Gordon type thing going on here. And he started retraining with Elektra. And the Kingpin seems to be snapping back to his old ways. Definitely must read of 2099 of 2019. The Justice League. Yes, the Justice League. One of the books definitely from any of the publishing houses that have maintained nice equilibrium of not really losing us and not really having any downsides to their books. Coming out pretty much on time, story, maintaining some intrigue about it, as well as the artwork. And the majority of this series was done by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, and Jorge Jimenez, as well as, interim artists on it when Jimenez wasn't doing it. And this book was just great. And the the Justice Doom War, I guess they're calling it, ends this month. And that book also comes out tomorrow. So make sure you get it. Got 2 hot covers, one by Jorge Jimenez and the other one by Tony Daniel. I'm getting both. And this will end the storyline of the Justice Doom War, as well as this creatives team run on this book. So if you haven't gotten any of it, I would implore you, please get the trades. Joshua Williamson, Rafael Sandoval, and Howard Porter made my life quite easy in collecting the Flash this year. They continue just to satisfy my need for speed. Barry Allen in this is I won't call him a new millennium Barry Allen, but they've kept hope alive for the Flash. And every month, whether it's coming out once a month or twice a month, is always a joy to pick this book up. And that Flash Year One storyline, man, oh man, it's definitely a good jumping point on for anyone. So if you find that in trade, you want to give that to somebody for a Christmas present, I would definitely recommend the Flash. I just wish Howard Porter and Rafael Sandoval were the only ones penciling this book, but easily a great book for 2019. We're going to go over to the Immortal Hulk. Most of that was done by Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. And this is not the Bruce Banner that any of us has known. This horror / cosmic look at the Green Goliath has added a ton of layers to his mythos. And his character is just even more in-depth than it ever has been. But looking at it from a superhero point of view, I just hope that Banner can save himself from the one below all. And if he's able to do that, then as we saw in the Immortal Hulk number 25, he'll be able to save the entire cosmos as well. And all of the covers for that, all of the A covers for that were done by Alex Ross. Super, super dope. And I'm not going to call it a sleeper book, but it was kind of a book for me because I'm such an art hound. And that is Silver Surfer Black by Donny Cates and Tradd Moore. And this book definitely was on my 2019 top 10, if I had a top 10. And this book is dope. This book was dope. Tradd Moore's art had me like kind of feeling a little weird about it, but the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. These two guys, Cates and Moore, delivered a story of cosmic proportions that I have not seen Norrin Radd in since his first meeting with Thanos before the original Infinity Gauntlet. And they've really put the Silver Surfer back into his cosmic Shakespearean role, I believe, where he belongs. And I think this is the beginning of his journey to the Fallen One mantle. But we shall see what they have for him in 2020. So I'm going to go with my top 3 right now. And y'all know I had to talk about this. Y'all know I had to talk about it. And this is The Walking Dead by Robert Kirkman and Charlie Adlard. Maybe the best comic book slash television show about zombies ever made. The story of Rick Grimes and company is just amazing. It's amazing. And it abruptly ended at issue 193. And Kirkman wrote a little love letter to the fans in the back of that. And but the lengths that he went to fool us is crazy. He went so far as to list issues 194 and 195 as if they were coming out, so people wouldn't know that he was ending the book. But this is a beautiful ending to this horrifically entangled comic book that was all in black and white, and I have to say maybe the best black and white comic book to grace modern comics. I would say that. And I would love to have every issue of this series, even if it was just like I think the first 52 issues of The Walking Dead Weekly, which was like the first reprints of that. I would just take that, and then from 53 on of the regular series. Would love to have that. And this book will be sorely missed in the future. My number 2 is a new book from Boom Studios, of course. And the fantasy man in me just, let me tell you something, man. This book is just for me. If any of y'all have ever seen Grimm on NBC, the television show, y'all know exactly where this is going. His book is very similar to that in a lot of ways, but it has a really extreme twist on the Arthurian legend, on the legend of King Arthur. You got this family of monster hunters, but they're there to keep the evil King Arthur from destroying the world. This book, I think it's only up to issue 4 or 5, is also coming out tomorrow on New Comic Book Day. And it's super, super dope. It's so well written and so well drawn that it's definitely a keeper, in one of those books that had variants to it that I picked up as many as I can. I think it had like 6 different printings, and it had a 1 per store variant that was fire, and I did manage to get my hands on one of those. And this book is done by Karen Gillian and Dan Mora, and I have to say Dan Mora has been doing the best work of his career on this and on the covers and stuff that he's done for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well as Power Rangers and stuff like that. Super dope. And definitely a must-have for any comic or fantasy lover. And is it better than Kieran Gillian's other book, Die? Well, I think so, in my opinion. And the book or series of the year. And many will say no. I know the comic book jabroni is yelling boo, boo right now. But The House of X and Powers of 10 by Jonathan Hickman, Pepe Larraz, and R.B. Silva was just a treat for me. If you've never read an X book or never will after this, you definitely should own this story in some way, shape, or form. Hickman has reset or even rewritten the X-Men as most of us know it. It was outrageously in depth and in its scope. Just a weird, out there reshaping of the X universe, and I was in love with it from the beginning. Not to mention that I am a fan of Pepe Larraz and R.B. Silva's work. It was a bit confusing, very intriguing, and even had some heartfelt moments. This book takes the cake for my 2019 comic book list. As for the Dawn of X, as it continues, let's hope that some of this magic reverberates also into the other books going into 2020. And I'm going to talk about one person in particular before I end this video, and we're talking about Jason Aaron. He started writing Thor in 2012, I believe it was. And his tenure, I'll put it, on Thor ends tomorrow. Also, a lot of books, y'all. Get them wallets ready. I know it's Christmas, but get them ready. His tenure on Thor ends tomorrow. And it started 7 years ago with Thor, God of Thunder. And that gave us one of the greatest and most memorable foes that Thor has ever faced. And that was Gore the God Butcher. And it also placed us where we could see Thor throughout a complete timeline, which was really, really cool. And after that, I believe he did Unworthy Thor. And man, oh man, just like some of the stuff that he wrote, the mythos of Thor and Asgard and running around in the cosmos. And he had his little iron prosthetic arm and his hunt for another hammer. It was just really, really cool to see a different side of Odin's son. And I tell you the truth, any Thor story drawn by Oliver Koppel is for me. And maybe the most controversial thing that Jason Aaron has done is making Jane Foster into Thor. I must say, although this is almost like a passing of the torch or what have you, and we know that Thor is not really a mantle, but its name. His name is Thor, Odin's son. But Jane Foster carried the mantle of Thor so very well. The one thing I didn't really dig was I just didn't think that they did her death justice. And they made too light of it in the way they brought her back, because the glorious sacrifice of her death was magnificent. If a death in battle could be called magnificent, it was dope. Definitely something for the record books. Regardless of how much people might hate her, that story's gonna reign supreme for a little while. And then in the next series, we got Thor with the all weapon, doing all types of things, and the War of Realms. And ultimately, at the War of Realms, he both becomes worthy of the hammer and he becomes the king of Asgard. And as I said before, this month, in this book, King Thor #4, which comes out tomorrow, the God Butcher has returned with a vengeance, and Jason Aaron will end his run on Thor in the same glorious way that he started it. And Donny Cates takes over the writing chores for the new series Thor, which starts in 2020. So I hope you guys have stuck with me through this very long video, and I will see you hopefully for a best artist of 2019 and the best covers of 2019. And that's gonna, as I said, it's gonna be longer than a top 10. But, you know, we got to give much respect to the dudes that rain terror on our pockets with these variant covers. So until next time, I will catch you at the same bat time and at the same bat channel.